do as I say, not as I did. But they didn't see me back then. But
You chat talked somebody
chat
and
talked.
yeah,
Yes, I did
yeah.
chat talked on the
Got
soccer
busted.
field. And this girl,
Smoked you?
unqualified, unsolicited, and totally honest opinions on midlife. Okay. I'm super excited. I feel like this is part one of probably 20
Mm,
episodes about kids and kid athletes.
good sports.
Yeah. Cause it's how much is this talked about every time we have people over?
Yeah, I don't know if it's us or if it's everyone's world, but man, sports is a hot topic for sure. Kid sports, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think because we moved from California.
Well, I think also backing up even bigger, athletes and celebrities are kind of the royalty for Americans, I would say.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's a,
Kind of big deal.
yeah, it's very,
Yeah.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
So go on.
So you're explaining why athletes are big.
Okay, somebody lives in a cave and they have no idea.
Just to backtrack, it was God.
Athletes play with sport balls.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Get us focused.
Okay, we live in a town where sports rules, but I feel like there's so many of those
Yeah.
towns.
Yep.
Like it's like where you have Walmarts, you have crazy towns of athletes, like and competitive eh, communities. And I'm
That's
just
why I
saying
was laying that
exactly.
foundation of America. That sports is a big, big,
Okay.
big deal.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
I don't know if we do
Everybody
that.
knows that.
I'm just saying it's everywhere. And I think because we've seen it, because our old community in California was not maybe not as,
It was still pretty heavy. Yeah.
but it was still pretty heavy.
I think we were just getting introduced to it because our kids were so young.
Yeah.
And I think we moved from like Burbank to like another town and then moving into there. Like
Town
each
that
time.
shall not be named.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
But like each time, like I personally had to reintegrate myself into the whole like coaching world. So I do a lot of coaching. So
Yeah.
this is I guess this is what I coach a lot of sports. And then when we moved up here, we moved with our kids already like, I don't know, what are they like? They were like 7.
Third and first.
Right. And so like a lot of other people had been just integrated in these little pods of sports and cracking
Yeah.
into that is
Yeah.
super difficult.
Right.
Yeah.
And what makes me crack up is that, our friends from California came into town and we were all talking and he works in professional baseball and he was saying, he's like, oh my God, every parent thinks their kid's going to be an MLB player.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was so nice for him to say, because we see that, but especially like him. And so many people have told you to do shows about it,
Yeah.
about creating, because it's this crazy environment of, you get like parents lose their minds, like sane,
Yeah.
awesome people can go to the dark side when it comes to kids athletics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like winning the lottery. If your child can make it into something big or like a D1 or whatever, it pays for college. And so
Right.
it really, as a parent, I think they're like, well, then I don't have to worry about, my daughter or my son because they're set for life.
Yeah.
But it is like winning the lottery and it's hard. It's a really, really hard process or a hard thing to do. But there's a lot of enjoyment in youth sports.
So much enjoyment. And so I love talking about it because, a lot of our social network comes from sports. It's like because a lot of time and energy is spent.
Yeah, you
And
see a lot of these people. Yeah.
you see these people a lot and it's like, oh, well, then you come over at the game or especially with football. And it makes it so much fun when you have cool families and everything like that. But of course, then you're digesting about the game and talking about all this stuff, and which makes it again fun, but it is such a thread of our lives in this chapter of our lives.
Yeah, yeah, which is finite too. I mean, it'll be over pretty soon, and it's interesting that I find that how much weight everybody puts on it, and it's like this moment's fleeting. It's going to be gone very soon.
And it was amazing that conversation you had with Carson, our now 7th grader, and he's playing football and he's the quarterback. And we're like, he loves it. And you were saying to him, you're like, buddy, you only have this amount of years left through high school to play. And then,
Yeah, and his high school years aren't even guaranteed because
No.
you earn those.
and especially his position, and especially in a highly, highly
Yeah.
athletic, competitive environment.
I always tell the kids that I help coach on teams, I'm like, really appreciate this. You know, it might be wet or rainy today, or that's the same thing. It might be cold or rainy, but like appreciate this moment. You don't have too many of these.
Yeah.
You don't where you can just go to school and play organized sports and have fun, and you're limited responsibilities. And so um I hope I can get that message across. I don't know if I always do, but
I know.
I really try to get that one.
And I love what sports teaches kids, and it's how to do your best, show up, and your team needs you.
Yeah.
And it just puts kind of all these life skills into one place, like being grateful, thanking your coach, being committed to something other than your own self, and working hard at something,
Yeah.
putting the time in. Like, I just love what that does. And it's funny because, like, obviously with three kids, they're all pretty different, and just seeing them in different ages and stages, and just seeing where they are with sports and stuff. And but we are always like, if you're committed to the sport, you are putting the time in, and you show up, and no, you don't get to miss practice, and you are thanking the coach at every,
Yeah.
at the end of practice, at the end of games. You are a good teammate, you support others, you lift others up, you say good game, and you mean it to other. You do not shit talk to other teams,
Yeah.
because that's just
Showboat.
karma for
Yeah.
you to get your butt kicked. And I learned that, but I do as I say, not as I did. But they didn't see me back then. But
You shat talked somebody
chat
and
talked.
yeah.
Yes, I did
Yeah.
chat talked on the
Got
soccer
busted.
field. And this girl,
Smoked you?
no, but she like followed me back to my car, and I was like, Mom, Dad, I was so scared. I was so scared, and I never did it again. So I was like, thank you. I want to, like, if I
Yeah.
knew her, I would write her a letter and be like, thank you. I tried it on. It wasn't a good color on me. I'm a supportive person, but it was a penalty kick. I was trying to get in her head. I did. And then she was really mad at me. So anyway, I don't believe in.
Yeah, I don't like coaching that behavior. I know there's things like called sellies and great celebrations for goals or touchdowns, and I really am I'm always like a scoreboard guy. I'm like, you don't need to say
Yeah,
anything. That scoreboard does it all. Like your actions
right,
speak volumes.
right.
And I do know that there is a time and a place because all these pro athletes do these dances and stuff. But I don't know. I really like the Patrick Mahomes idea that like if you kind of befriend everyone, it makes it a little bit harder for them to want to rip your head off.
I love that.
You know?
If you haven't seen that show, Quarterbacks, it's awesome. And that's
Yeah.
where we saw it on. And it was
Yeah.
just so good. And I love seeing behind the scenes of what these guys have to do, and showing our kids, because I think they see all this stuff and they see highlights, and they just think, oh, I should be that. If I flex, I am him.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this guy, do you see how much time
Work.
he goes to practice? Then he puts in all this time otherwise. And it's like, if you want all this stuff in life, it's not just that you just, sure, mindset,
Well,
but like, you got to do this other stuff.
and I don't know the coach who said this, but there was a coach who was talking and he said that they get a lot of sheeps
Oh,
or a lot of sheeps try to apply. He's a college coach for their team. And he goes, we don't want sheep. We want wolves. And what he was saying is that a lot of people herd their kids to this camp and herd their kids to this practice and this game and just move them around, and they're great sheep and they go and eat and do as they're told. And he's like, we don't want them. We want wolves that are hungry and go find their food. And what he's implying is that you've got to do the extra work, because there's a lot of times as a coach, parents will come up and they'll be like, what should we do? He wants to get better in the off season or such and such, such and such. And I find a lot of times I tell them something that's really pretty basic, like lacrosse. I'm like, get a stick, get a ball, and hit a wall or a rebounder. If you can pass and catch with both hands, just boom, 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 you're going to be a great player. But a lot of, they don't necessarily, I can see it in their eyes. They just don't even want to hear it. They're like, oh, he or she's not going to do that. Like they wanted me to be like, go to this program. It's $800 and you pay for it. And your son or daughter is going to be amazing next year. And there's no simple path. Like if they want it,
sure, you could pay for it.
you can, but that's
can
still
go
not a
get them.
simple path. But I think you're
No,
still
it's not
hurting a
simple.
sheep. Like
You are.
if
Yeah,
you
sure.
really, you'll know if you have the kid that really wants to be next level, because they got to go do the extra things.
Right.
And even for all the select teams or travel teams, which is such a big deal now, in order to make those is showing the extra efforts,
Yeah.
and coaches see it. And like you were saying earlier, like talk to the coach, thank the coach. A lot of times I tell the kids, I don't head coach really anything because of my job, but I assist. I'm a great assistant, so to speak. I like to be an assistant. But you, like a child that comes up and says thank you, that goes really far,
Yeah.
because I say to them all the time, I'm like, the head coach isn't making any money. You know, they spend countless hours looking at films and setting game plans and doing strategy, all for the love and wanting to teach this game to kids. And so, like, a little bit of appreciation goes a long ways. And so, I mean, I've got lots of pointers of what I could teach parents to do, but that is definitely one. If
Right.
your child at the end of practice, we've always said that you go thank every coach and everyone that helped out. You look them in the eye and you say thank you.
Again, a life skill. I
Yeah,
love,
yeah,
I mean, my important things in sports is get those skills for life and get worn out. Like that's
yeah,
my as a
yeah.
mom, I'm like, you better come home tired. Like that's what I'm paying for too. And I Alex Molden, who is awesome. He's in our town. He played for the Oregon Ducks. He went to the NFL. His kids in the NFL, they have 7 kids or something. They're an amazing family. And he's just such a wealth of information because he's an ex-athlete. He works with a lot of athletes and he's currently coaching on the
High school.
high school football team. And it was funny because he wasn't really asked this by many people. And I find kid athletics so fascinating, who I can be as a sideline hero, I call it, because we are holding
Yeah,
space for our
yeah,
kids on the sidelines, whether you're coaching, whether you're like a mom, making sure they're like slept, fed, all this stuff, and then like cheering them on and being positive for them. And so it was so cool to talk to him and be like, what's your advice? What do you ask your kids? What do you tell your kid? How do I know if it's me driven versus
yeah,
kid driven?
yeah,
And he was just saying like follow their lead, and if they do extra things, and there's so many other good tidbits he has, and I would love to have him on with us again,
yeah.
because again, like this is part one of 20 to 100 episodes about kid athletes, because it is the topic of so many conversations.
Well, just parenting, like
Parenting,
parenting, I think.
it heightens everything, just like the stress and the pressure and the this, and it's just like all of it is exemplified on a athletic
Well, there's so many benefits.
field court.
So many benefits for boys and girls as they're developing to be involved in some sort of sport or dance or some sort of
Yeah.
like team and even individual sport that they can learn from.
And grow and improve.
Tons of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really an important part of their life. So therefore, it becomes an important part of parenting,
Yeah.
and then navigating that.
Holding space for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Not being like, oh my God, you were awful. Or, I said, one of the things that struck me, and I was like, okay, I haven't been doing this and I want to start doing it, is he said, I go, how do you handle like good or bad when they get off the field or when you're on the
yeah,
sideline, they're done with their sport? What do you do? And he goes, I always ask them, how do you think you did?
yeah. That's a
And I
good
was
one.
like, I never do that.
Yeah.
I'm always like, good job.
Yeah,
Or,
three positives right away, and then maybe we can work on this next time is always
yeah.
a good one.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it is a lot. And I think parents need to start giving themselves a lot of grace of what we do for our kids. We pay,
yeah, it's
we
expensive.
energy, the time, all the things that we do to get them to said sport. And I feel like again with these club sports, I love the Holderness family on Instagram. Like they're like, whoa, it all starts. It's like this.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the
yeah,
gateway
yeah,
drug. Ooh,
yeah.
your kid's
But
really good at this. Ooh, okay,
so
we'll pay. Oh, we have no weekends anymore. Oh,
I
we've already paid their college tuition and all their sports. Oh, we don't go on vacations anymore. Cause I mean, the amount of
it's
money we would have if we didn't do, but it's like brings them so joy, brings us joy for the most part.
it's crazy. Yeah,
It's crazy. It
it's
is.
expensive. I think the travel thing, because we've made a commitment that we don't the select or tournament teams that we put our children on, we don't really travel.
Not big.
No, yeah,
Not like that.
because, and I think one of my friends said it best too. He's like, if your child, your son or daughter, is just absolutely killing it in their region, and they can't find anyone that can give them any competition, sure, spend the money to go travel. But I really believe the amount of money spent to go travel to like Phoenix or San Diego, whatever, you could get 3 or 4 more tournaments locally, and
Right.
repetition is so much better for them.
And the people that will pay in California, they come to Oregon.
Yeah.
They
But
go to these tournaments.
albeit there is some fun in traveling
Yeah.
because there's like a community aspect for
Yeah.
it. So it really is like a family thing that you have to decide, can we afford it? But I don't think it has to be done to develop a kid
Yeah.
and make them great. We do with a lot of our kids, we say we put them on the practice team. So there's a travel team and we call up and we're like, hey, we can't travel, but we love to pay for our child to practice with the travel team to get those reps with the quote unquote better players. And I love it because I think it's a little humbling for them,
Yeah.
because I think they keep fighting. And we say like, hey, when you get older, then maybe you will get to travel,
Yeah. It's just
Um,
with 3 kids.
it's hard.
Logistically, it's so
Yeah.
hard. Financially, it's just
But I want people
insanity.
to know you don't
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
There's like
Always.
great
Yeah.
alternatives, because now it's gotten into this huge, like all year around, your kid's got to be in this one sport. And
Yeah.
the,
It's sad. Rec
yep.
is dying. Like the rec
Oh, I
sports
know.
at a certain
Yeah.
age. Do you have aging parents and you're still raising your kids? Then welcome to the sandwich generation. It can be super overwhelming, but I've got you. I wrote an ebook that helps you save time, energy, and money. And you can get your copy on thesandwichgen.com/ebook, and it will help you with all the things you need. But what I do appreciate is that, like, our son, his main sports are lacrosse and football. But I also, you and I have kind of been at odds about this, but I love that he plays a sport that there's no pressure, which is basketball. And you're
Yeah.
like,
Rec
basketball.
basketball. Yeah.
I mean, we're not ginormous people. That's not going to be what he hangs
Right.
his hat on as a sport. But for him, especially that is very serious about 2 sports, I think it's so good for him to have something that he's like having fun and just playing.
Yeah. Not much pressure.
No pressure whatsoever. I mean, he could suck out there and I'd be like, cool. Did you have fun? Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And then in the other 2, he can be, as focused and do the extra stuff. And I mean, there is no expectations when I show up to that game. Our daughter, same, our youngest, on
For basketball.
basketball. Oh my God. If you want
Joy.
joy and giggles, go to 5th grade and under basketball. It is,
They're awesome.
it's almost like what college sports used to be. Like, I'm just saying, so much heart and like energy and like enthusiasm and just want. Like, they work their little tails off. And the like kids are diving and they're falling and they're like, I mean,
Yeah.
double dribbling. I mean, but the enthusiasm
Right.
and
It's just playing.
sweetness
Playing is great. Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, my friend and I, we've been on the same team. Our girls have, and we giggle. I'm crying, laughing every game. Like, it brings me so much joy because there's no pressure. There's no pressure. I don't care if she makes 0 baskets or 100. I don't care.
Well, I mean, that should be like that for every sport that our
I know,
children are
but
in. It's
thanks.
hard, but then that's a lesson for you. But
It
it's
is a
hard. It's
lesson
really
for
hard.
me.
And
Well, and
I'll get upset like at times when I feel like they haven't. I always say, we don't need you to win, but you need to do your best out there.
yeah,
And that does make me frustrated when I don't feel like they've done their best, and then we got to talk about it, because
yeah,
it's like life. And I know we can't always, like every day I try to do my best at work. I try to like make this day better than the next, then better than the next.
yeah.
And circumstances sometimes, you might be sick, you might not be feeling well. There's highs and lows. But we do try to get across to just constantly try and do your best and
Yeah.
be a great teammate.
Yes, being a great teammate, because I think especially with boys right now at this age,
Yeah, they're
7th
rough.
grade level,
They're
they're
rough.
rough. It's
Yeah.
and it's a competitive age. They're mean to each other, and it's like, that's not fun. That's not
No,
supportive. That
yeah.
doesn't feel like a team. That's not the Kool-Aid we all started drinking
They're
back in the
all
day. Of
yeah.
like, oh my God, camaraderie. And so I love that you were like, hey, no, we will not have that. 3 compliments to each other.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
go.
No, I made the football team give compliments during practices and games. They had to give each other 3 compliments.
I love that.
Because I felt like they weren't like talking to each other, and they were just kind of mean, and just everyone's jockeying for position. And in order to really make a team, I know it's such a cliche, but you're as good as your worst person. And if you can build everybody up,
Yeah.
you just are that much
Yeah.
better. And when
Tides
there's
rise together.
Yes,
Yeah.
when there's that cohesive nature, they're awesome, and it takes a minute for them to figure that out, or maybe they don't figure it out. But
And that's one other
yeah,
thing, again, you and I could talk for hours, and this is episode 1 of 20 at least. But I love competition, like even on their own
Yeah.
team. And you and I have talked about this a lot, is that they would not get better if they didn't have to fight for their position. Like we've seen our kids and we never let them assume or whatever. We're like, that was last year. You might have made that team last year, but
Yeah.
today some kid could move in. Some kid could have worked every day. You are only as good as your last game, and you fight for that position every practice because it's getting to that level. But that also teaches them that life skill of like, it's how you show up in
Yeah.
every which way. And I
Yep.
love that. And so when there's other awesome athletes, which in our town is very easy to have, they are better themselves because of those other kids.
Yeah.
So instead of being intimidated by them, I'm like, awesome. Yes. Like, thank you. You're making my kid better because he has to work for it. She has to work for it,
Yep.
And
Yep.
so
I mean, it's real. I work for
I
my
think it's
job
like a
every day.
shift.
It's a
Yeah.
big thing.
But you wouldn't,
Yeah.
and like you said, you're like, it scares me when I'm the best guy in the room. How much more better can you get if you are the best person on the
Sure.
team, if you're the best person in the room? Our oldest, Maddie, our dear friend, did a club volleyball team last year. And she asked for Maddie because she was like, hey, Maddie plays softball. She's a shortstop. And she's like, she never hesitates. I need a shortstop in the back row. And we were like,
She never played volleyball.
she
Yeah.
did rec
Yeah, I
and
guess.
she
Yeah.
was fine. And
Yeah.
so we're like, oh, do we want to do the time and
Mm-mm.
money? And but we really love this individual that was a coach. And you both you and I were like, it's less about the sport, it's more about the impact
Yeah.
that this amazing friend of
Yep.
ours would have on Maddie. And so we were like, we're in.
Just put her in.
Yes, put her in her world. Any trickle of, and that's another thing, is our kids are exposed to all these other awesome human beings in sports. And so we were like, yes, put her on the team. And Maddie, I was like, what an awesome spot you have. And our friend was like, she's the worst on the team. And I'm like, what an awesome spot to be in,
Yeah.
because she can only rise. And she did. And she did awesome. And everyone was so awesome and supportive. And it was just like, that's what the movies are made of. Like,
Well, yeah,
all these
and, and
things.
and I think even she learned a lot because
So much.
she's really good at softball. She hasn't been the worst in a long
Ever.
time in her
Yeah.
life. Very long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess because they just rose with soccer and softball, just
Yeah.
you know. So she had to go in, and she was self-conscious, and she made mistakes, and all the other girls. She said to me that she felt like she was letting them down, but you just kept working, 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 and you overcome. So just like in life, you're going to get a new job and you don't know everything, and then you're going to stumble, and like this stuff all helps you grow and get
Yeah.
better. And so there's numerous positives to
So,
be involved.
yeah. So sports are awesome. And the last thing I'll say for this episode, because you and I could talk for hours.
Yeah.
But is that I kind of had a reframe lately, because we like of our competitive town. And sometimes, parents will get to you because they're like, go, their kid's the best. And you're like, you and I are pretty mellow about our kids, and we're confident about our kids, and we have them work hard, and we never want
Yeah.
them to feel like anything's given to them. And I was like sitting there listening to his mom, and I wasn't agitated because I'm like, yes, your kid's amazing. And he is. And he's a great athlete. But it hit me, and I'm like, oh my God, we're all just champions for our kids.
Yeah.
We all just want to do the best. Sometimes we don't wear the best colors, and we're a little more like mama bear, or like whatever the type of parent, tigers and whatever kind of animal that comes out. But I'm like, we're just doing our best, and it's all coming from love, and we're all just trying to learn. And I know you and I constantly are having conversations because we do want to be the best sideline heroes we can,
Yeah.
to be the best supporters of our kids, because our whole goal at the end of the day, whether they end up in the like PLL of lacrosse or like playing softball for Oregon, like whatever that is, I want them to like get these skills that they can't get without working hard or struggling.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
whatever position we can put them in to have that, I love doing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because like I do remember back in softball when we were in California, there was a close friend of ours that the daughter got left off of the softball team. And the parents had zero involvement
Oh,
in the softball,
yeah.
and the daughter didn't make the travel team. and we've all heard the term like mommy or daddy ball, and how much like the parents of the children that are the coaches make the teams and the people
Right.
that. So, good or bad, some advice to people is you do have to have a presence for your child.
I
And
like how you say it. You go, don't drop off and go.
yeah, yeah, I understand that you might have jobs that prohibit you from doing XYZ, but walking up every once in a while, just like we say that the kids should say thank you to the coaches, as a parent, don't be shy. You can come up and say thank you to another adult and be like, my daughter or my son just loves this sport and loves what you're doing. It's so, thank you. Appreciate that you do that time.
Yeah.
You know, that goes a long ways. Fundraisers, all sports need it. There's ways, and if you don't have the financial means to give, you can volunteer.
Yeah. Man
And
hours.
and everyone has some time.
Yeah.
And you can say the fundraising board, hey, I can send a bunch of emails for you. When's a good time? Or
Yeah.
so
Be
it
involved. And the more
yes,
involved you are,
yes.
the more you get out of it, the more you feel connected.
And I think that that's just kind of a part of the
Yeah.
world that it's in, and a
Yeah.
lot of the
It
drop and
It
goes.
takes a team to have the team. Like it takes a village to create this magic for our kids.
Yeah,
And it can't all be on
because you
same
cut the
individual.
check,
Yeah.
like today spent money for softball, and I'm gonna coach. So I pay and pay. You know what I mean? Pay with my time and pay with my money.
Yeah.
But I love it and it's great. But so like I just think sometimes parents have the attitude of like, I paid, go, make my kid a superstar. And it just doesn't work like that.
Right.
It is a two-way street. There is
Yeah.
participation, there is involvement, and we all have different circumstances. But if you really want to, you can find a way. There's stadium cleanup days. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that can be done
So true.
to just show support so that it makes it easier for the others that spend, countless hours on the boards or, coaching. And so if you really want your child to surface and to stand above, there is a bit of an onus on the parents too.
And it's modeled behavior. Like kids won't, it's not what you tell them, it's what they see. So if they see that you're involved, the more they're going to want to talk to the coaches, the more they're going to be like feel beholden to the team and part of
Yeah.
the team. So I think there's that aspect too, but it's so true. And because you coach more than I have, I've coached a couple of times
Yeah.
when they were younger, but it is so true. Cause like the parents that drop off and you're like, oh my God, your kid's shoes are never tied.
Yeah.
Never have the water.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
help
Yeah. Yeah. Help me help
so,
you.
yeah.
That's
And
frustrating.
but I just love talking about this. I think it's so needed. But again, that reframe of that, even though parents might seem crazy, everyone's trying to do their best. And I know a lot of people are always just like, how can I be better? Like for our kids, how can I help them on their own journey? How can I be the best support without losing my ever loving mind?
Yeah, it's hard. It's a balance.
It's really hard.
Because there's days when I'll be like, you got to go out in the barn and shoot or pass, and then they'll be grumpy. And then I'm like, wait, you love this. Why are you grumpy? But again, highs and lows. People have days where they
Yeah.
feel motivated. They have days where they don't feel motivated. And I think it's just giving some space between knowing when you got to nudge. Hey, you signed up for practice. You got to go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Right.
that's
Or, I'm just saying, or, hey, I noticed out there that you had a tough time dribbling. If you just take a ball, maybe go out in the garage and dribble for 5 minutes, that will help on an off day. That
Yeah.
definitely, there's things that can be done
yeah.
to help boost, performance.
And on another episode, I do want to touch on like what are the boundaries? Like I feel like parents, when they're spending all this time and money, especially for these club sports, like to have expectations of their kid. Like obviously you're going to practice, you're going to every practice,
Yeah.
paying
Yeah.
god awful amounts of like for you to learn this. But like what else? Because I think it's okay. And I think it's that life skill of like, what are your other expectations? Like we expect you to on your off days go spend a half hour or this. So I want to touch on that later. But
Right.
to be
Right.
continued part 2 of 20. Go team.
Yay, team.
If you loved hanging out with us, hit that follow button and share this episode with someone who could use a little midlife magic. Now go rock the rest of your day.